Welcome back, everyone. As the title on this clip talks about finding your inner voice or your voice in making art, I'm going to take a look at that today and show you how some of the things I do in studio kind of leads me up to that point. Voice is something is kind of the mysterious part of art. We all look at famous artists and we see the style they've developed and how once you see their image, you know exactly who it is as soon as it comes on the screen or book or whatever you're looking at. Anyway, I'm going to try to go into some of those details today, and I think even as you yourself working as an artist is something that's consistently evolving if you continue to practice every day. One way I practice art every day is by making shapes and going into the studio without any real preconceived notion. It often starts with using a spray bottle, acrylic paint, doing just a light brush work like you see before you right now. And I kind of experiment with this in a way through much of the first part of my studio practice daily. Making shapes, letting colors blend, letting colors bleed. As a spray bottle does a great job in doing this. It kind of gets me on the path to setting up my composition and getting the bottom layer prepared. And once again, no preconceived notion, just trying to experiment and see where the paint takes me on that particular day. I think one of the hardest things for younger artists and people who have not practiced art most of their life to find is that voice. And what do I make? What do I develop? What kind of ideas should I come forth with? And that's what I hear from a lot of my students. What do I make? Where do I go with this? And why is it important? And I really do believe that your own life is probably the best thing you can look at. That's what you know the best, is your own past experiences. And I think that's the first step in finding an inner voice, is doing, investigating themes that you already know intimately. You know about it, like your childhood. Maybe you've taken a trip to Colorado. Maybe you've experienced something that has changed your life. That's something probably you should take a look at and start collecting images, start collecting ideas. And I do that through sketchbooks. Sketchbooks has been the critical part for me trying to find my own voice. And the portraiture here, I'm always making, blind contour drawings. You've seen my previous videos. Continuous line, blind contour, those all come into play. By drawing daily and painting daily or making mixed media, which is what I do most of the time, your inner voice will come through. Trust the process. I think a lot of times people will, once again, get frustrated, tear up a piece or get rid of it or think that, this is just awful. But I think one of the best things you can do is fight through it. I often do not throw my failed pieces away. I go over top of them. So if anybody could x-ray my images, you'll see things underneath. But I think by working on top of images, I like to let that prior failure come through. And a lot of times that will lead into the richness and texture that something you place on top of it. This picture here was a failed piece, but I kept working it. I painted over it eventually and then went back in with a brand new portrait. So that's the reason I'm showing this now, because I feel like voice is found through that way, through that trial and error, the experimentation. I can't say enough about trying to fight through those barriers that have stopped you, and it's to continue pushing the process. One of my consistent battles with finding voice is the whole idea. A lot of times your experimentation is not beautiful, is not something that people would maybe find aesthetic, but it's important to your development. And trying to find an equal footing between your ideas, which may be kind of raw, and finding something that you do find aesthetically pleasing. That's a constant balance, I think, for most artists and definitely for myself. So that's what this piece is about here. I'm working on. At first it started off very raw, and then I started bringing in more color to it, which helped the piece quite a bit. Here's another one that started off I was very frustrated with. And most of the images I'm showing you today are images that I really struggled with. I don't like to just show you what I feel like is my success. I like to show you some things I've really had to fight through. And I think that's how you find voice, is to struggle with it and overcome some of the barriers that was in the way for you. And that involves working through mistakes. Don't forget that most people aren't going to see your mistakes. They're going to see your final piece, and they don't know all the different things you had to go through to get to it. But I think working over images has been very good for me. I will start them, and then I would invariably go to something else that if it's not working, I'm not afraid to just completely radically change it, and what was left behind will still kind of show through in the new image. Alternative surfaces is another way that I found through mixed media to find an inner voice. This one was done with watercolor paper, but I put tissue paper on top of it, attached it to it, and then I began to paint and draw into the tissue paper. And just an experiment. I'm not sure this piece is successful or not, but I did enjoy working with the process and finding something new that I can add to my old repertoire. If you continue to practice every day, come to the studio every day, work through your mistakes, work through your failures, continue to layer if you're a mixed media artist, I guarantee you will find a voice within the work. You can't help but not find that. If you've liked this video today, please subscribe. I appreciate any commentary. Please like the image as well. It helps me continue making these clips. And today with this clip, this is an image I started earlier, the 5-minute portrait, and I wanted to show you how it turned out. Kind of a sense of humor with this one, where I have a life coach strike, but humor is also a great way to find your voice. Anyway, thanks for watching today, everyone, and I'll see you on the next one.